Well, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial and Midnight. My name is Heath, and this is a paperback haul video. You guys know I've really been digging the paperback scene lately, the Star Wars books, the Executioner, you know, all the 60s and 70s spy books. And everything that I'm about to show you guys, I picked up at a thrift store yesterday. It's not a thrift store video, it's just a paperback focused video because that's all that I bought. And there's one in here that is, I think there's 9 here. But there's one in here that's actually very rare. I didn't realize. I just bought it because it looked cool, and then I started researching it when I got home, and I'm going to save that one for last because I think it's the coolest. But I'll start with Aliens Book 2, Nightmare Asylum. So I've never read this, but I do know that in the Dark Horse Comics had a series of aliens for years. You know, Aliens versus Predator. Aliens was part of their bread and butter with the Star Wars universe as well, Dark Horse. But this is a novelization of Dark Horse Comics. And the idea with the comics was that it took place after the movie Aliens with Ripley and Hicks and Newt. They had, spoilers for Aliens, they had kind of survived and they were, you know, escaping. The comics picked up after that, but then Alien 3 came along and they had to do some retconning to explain some things, so characters' names were changed. This is book 2 of what I think was a trilogy. I know there's a bunch of these books, but I think that that story was a trilogy. This is book 2. Like I said, I never read this, but I did when I got home last night. I ordered one of the volume 1 or book 1 off of eBay, and book 3 as well. So I am in for the trilogy. So I'll have to let you guys know what I think about this. Have you read the Aliens novels? And if so, what do you think? This one's really cool. Hunter S. Thompson's Hell's Angels. And this is like a super old printing of it too. Probably like a 70s or an 80s printing. Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, a gonzo writer, probably the most famous gonzo writer. And this is his expose. That doesn't feel like the right word, but it's just his narrative about the Hells Angels. He rode with the Hells Angels, he studied them, he spent time in that lifestyle, and this was his takeaway from it. And I've never read this before. Always thought it would be kind of cool, but just one of those things that we never crossed paths. You know, me and the book were never in the same place at the same time. So now I'm going to check this out. Have you guys read this? What do you think? This next one I bought just because of the cover. Honestly, it was just a cool cover, and I was like, well, I'll check it out. It's from John Dixon Carr, and it's called Captain Cutthroat. And is that not a bad cover? And by bad, I mean that in the 80s sense of the word. It's so rad, you guys. This is a tubular cover. Cowabunga, y'all. But this looks really cool, and it's got like bats and stuff on the back. And what I gather from the back of the book is that it's about an English spy who's been captured, and he's being held, and it's about the bad stuff that happened around this guy, maybe. I mean, he's clearly got like a corpse at his feet. He's got a bloody knife in his hand. So, I don't know. It just looks cool. If nothing else, I like the cover. That's something, you guys, paperbacks, like books in general, have really lost shelf appeal. Everything looks the same. I don't know why. I don't know why that's a good tactic, because everything is just like the author's name in big font, and then maybe like a knife or something like that. It's just super generic now. But once we had covers like this, and I think they're to be celebrated. The next 2 are from the same series. They're kind of weird. So this is Tobin's War, Book 1, Dead Sea Submarine by Alan Kailu, I believe is how you pronounce that. And then Book 3, Congo War Cry. And again, these are great pulp covers. And I did a little research on this guy when I got home. Alan Kailu was he has a crazy life. I think his life was probably more interested than his stories. He was, I'm not even going to try to name it all, but he was like high up in the espionage scene, like in the Palestinian military or something like that. Like, he did all these different things. But the weird thing about these books is that someone, I should say there's 4 books in this series. I've never read any of them. This is half of them. So I wanted to read them, but whoever had them didn't value them very much, because they've, like on this page, anything that didn't have text, like any empty paper, they tore away. So there's that. And of course that really bothers me. Here's another page too. They've pulled this page away too. But there's no, like, I've been through the whole thing, no text appears to be missing. It's like they were looking for scrap paper, and they were like, well, I don't have any scrap paper handy, so I will just tear it out of this book. And then this one, the third book, they've torn part of the back cover away. And then again, at the beginning of the book, the exact same thing. They're like this was their phone pad, you know, like I gotta write down a message. Like what? So I would normally have passed on these, but here's another one. Like the chapter ends right here, and they was like, well, we don't need that, so they tore that away. Again, no text is lost, but what a disrespectful thing to a book. That actually really bothers me. But I want to read these books. I can actually read them, and if a better copy presents itself later, maybe I can upgrade if it's worth it or whatever. But 3 more here, you guys. This is interesting. Errol Flynn's My Wicked, Wicked Ways. This is his autobiography. Errol Flynn, Robin Hood, from probably the greatest Robin Hood movie of all time. He was in a bunch of pirate movies, westerns. Errol Flynn's one of the great stars of the golden age of Hollywood. Here's the thing. Errol Flynn's also a total douchebag. Total piece of work. An a-hole, if there ever was one. The things that he did, to say he was a womanizer is really understating it. From what I understand, he was like, there's words I don't want to use on this channel because they'll get things flagged. He had a penchant for some underage issues and things like that. Real controversial, not even controversial. There's no controversy about it. Like, he's a piece of crap. Who as a weird counterpoint, made great movies, was one of the most charismatic stars of the screen. But Errol Flynn's private life is notorious. And this is his own account. I've never read it. I've heard the stories. There's a documentary, The Adventures of Errol Flynn. I believe that's what it's called. And it was produced for Turner Classic Movies, I believe. And it tells the story of Errol Flynn and like the adventures and the orgies and the he was into slave trading, I believe, at some point. Like really terrible things. So the duality of a man who made fantastic motion pictures, was a great actor, was very intelligent, very educated, but just chose to squander, squander all of it on alcohol, drugs, just the worst, just the worst. So this is really interesting. So if nothing else, it's just a character study of him in his own words. One more pulp here. This is Chopper. What is this called? Chopper 1. This is book number 9, Payback, from Jack Hawkins, which sounds like an in-house name. I doubt that there's a Jack Hawkins. Maybe there is. I haven't done a lot of research on this series yet, but clearly this is like a helicopter squad pulp fiction kind of a thing. It's longer than a lot of those books tended to be. This one's over 300 pages. But I don't know a lot about this series. Actually, I know nothing about this series, but it was there and I was there, and I'm into this right now, so I grabbed it. Here we go. This is the last one. This is the gem of the whole find. It's a little not beat up. It's a little crooked. I'll go ahead and show you. It's a little warped, I guess I would say. I could probably straighten it out by putting some encyclopedias on it. But what is it? It's Nightmares on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger's 7 Sweetest Dreams. It's an anthology of Freddy stories, published in 1991. Check it out. I was like, yeah, I want that Nightmare on Elm Street book. And then I got home and I started researching it, looking it up. And this is going for $50. In this condition, I think it's probably worth $50 or $60, apparently. Now, I'm not going to sell it. I'm not really interested in the value outside of like, well, good find for me. Good for me for finding that. That's as far as I go with it. I'm not going to flip it on eBay or anything like that. Because here's the thing. This is cool. And I want to have it in my collection. And I want to read it. An anthology of Freddy stories. I assume that Freddy's in all of these. Freddy Krueger's greatest hits. Someone has written their address and their name on the front page. I'm not going to show you guys in case they're still there, in case they're still alive. I don't know. But this was by far the coolest of the entire haul, I think. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I mean, Hunter S. Thompson, Errol Flynn, and then some pulps, and then that Alien book. It's a pretty cool haul, right? So I just wanted to share this with you guys really quick, a shorter video about some paperbacks. Paperback Paradise. I think that's what this is. We'll do them from time to time. So guys, how's it going? Found any cool books in your neck of the woods? If you have, let us know. We'll talk about them in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you